How's it going? Okay, so follow-up episode today. Wanted to do the lettering and had lost my fonts from the reinstall. Managed to get everything under control, so we're back. We're in Adobe Illustrator, as you can see. I went ahead and I took the time to get everything typed out, so that'd be pretty boring. I'm going to go ahead and get things kind of set up here. So I've got two layers. This is my art layer. It's nice and locked. And I went ahead and got Dinosaur Man on his cliff dive there colored in, so that's all set to go. I'm going to do two other layers, and this one's going to be my balloon layer, and this one is my text layer. So fairly straightforward and simple stuff. And keep that nice down and low. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start from the top. Got these guys have some names. Jota. This guy's name is Jota. And the other guy's name is Jet. Okay. So we'll be coming in off the top with that one. Go ahead and get everything placed. We want to keep the flow. We read left to right, and we'll read top to bottom. So I want to go from here to here to here. To there. So that's the placement there. I'm going to go into my balloon one and start the process of making the balloons. Hold down the Alt key and drag out from the center, and that way we'll get our position. Get bigger on the screen here for you. Now when you're doing lettering, and everything that I've learned comes from the Comic Craft how-to guide, which I highly recommend finding a copy of that. You can buy the PDF from them for like, I don't know, $6 or $7. It's an outdated version of Illustrator, but the principles are all the same. The tools still work the same in how to ink. Or it's not ink, but letter. So we want to minimize the space going on the outsides here. And we want to try to shape our words to be the shape of a balloon. It makes it hard when you've got some hanging or you're ending in a long word like this, but we'll do some adjustments to keep that minimized. So I just basically am grabbing control points and moving them in so that the balloon is has a comfortable shape, but there's not a lot of wasted room where we're covering up artwork with white balloon space. And use the pen tool and drag out the tail. And I'm going to go and bring up the Pathfinder and grab these two and make them into one shape. Hello, Pittsburgh again. Everybody hanging out in the comic shop, Geekadrome. Two nerds enter, and they leave with comic books. Okay, so I don't really have to because this is going off the edge of the page, but if this was a panel, I'd want to trim that, most likely. To do that, we use another shape, grab those two and trim. That way we can butt it up against the corners there. This one I'm ending on a flat surface, so I think I might want to no. Oops. Okay, so now that's where it gets a little tricky. So go down, bring this in, bring that one in a little bit. Now we'll pull down our control handle. Here we go. He's being a little more forceful in his speech because it's bolded. It's like, I've been thinking, Jota. Oh, do tell. And I don't know if other people do it when they're doing this, but I always kind of act it out in my head and try to imagine how the dialogue is being said and being presented. And okay, so this one's pretty straightforward. One thing that a lot of people do wrong, amateur-wise, and I've even seen it in some professional, like Marvel books and DC books. Maybe not DC, but Marvel books. The balloon will point to, like, their shoulder, their chest. You always want to make sure and try to have the point going in the direction of the mouth. That makes the most sense. That's the most readability. When people don't do that, it's just an eyesore. I'm sure there'll be somebody out there that does that might argue, but it just looks bad. Alright, so let me get this guy being a little more casual now, so maybe we'll swing out a curved tail. Merge those. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. She's back there getting a ride somewhere in an enclosed space, so she's not part of the conversation. Alright, so this will humanize them a little bit. You're not going to sympathize with these people, but gives us some banter. I'm going to put my Pathfinder in there. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be a fun one, because I'm going to do a behind the head tail. In this instance, this is a carry-on conversation. So he's saying this, there's a pause, and he's saying this. So we don't want two balloon tails pointing at each other. We just want one. And usually it's going to end up on the last one. So we're going to go into our layers now. I'm going to relock that. And I'm going to just do some connected balloons. this awkwardly long word here. And by the way, I am a terrible proofreader. I usually have my wife read something over. She's very grammar prone, and so she won't pick up on the the accents or the slangs like y'all, ya think. That would be grammatically incorrect. But like I can't even. It's like sometimes I'll miss something that's misspelled. So if you see something, say something. But other than that, this will be looked at before it gets posted by somebody other than myself. All right, so here's the trick. So I got this balloon, and this balloon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a connector that goes between the two of them, like so. Like that. And then we're going to connect them, but we have a problem. It's over his head. What are we going to do? Well, first I'm going to make the tail. And then we will solve that difficulty. Okay, so now we are going to mask this out. Let's see. A little bit there. So to do that, and basically I have to create a shape around what I'm keeping. Alright, so we'll connect that shape. And we're going to connect. Select both of those, and we go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. Now we just got to refine it a little bit. Hey, Varian. First time I've seen you in the chat. All right. That's pretty much got it. You've never seen anybody letter with Illustrator, or do they just use Photoshop? The thing that I've noticed with Photoshop, because I used to use Photoshop, it can be done. And your text and your balloons, when you create them in Illustrator, even if you're bringing them into Photoshop to the final exports, they're crisper than if you build it in Photoshop, because Photoshop has never had real vector tools. I don't know, maybe CC does now, but it's always been raster tools, so it's faking. At least traditionally, it's always been faking a vector graphic. And there's just always a little bit of blurriness to it for some reason. So yeah, so that's a cool balloon there. And there's another thing I want to do. And I just noticed this about this balloon. His hair is being covered up. So I'm going to adjust text. Like so. And I think we're going to try to do another one. Or modify. Actually, yeah, I should probably modify this one and try to get it to do what I want it to do. So let's, because I've never had too much luck with multiple compound paths. I'm not an expert at Illustrator. I just kind of stumble around it. All right, and then we'll go into our convert anchor point tool. Convert these. Whee! Some more paths. Snap on. Okay, let's see how that looks. Not bad. Sets it behind them, and that way it's coming forward. I might do a little bit of cleanup and do that. And yes, I did see Netflix has their own Godzilla series. After I'm done with this, I'll make a little dinner, sit down, start binge watching it, and then maybe get back to working on another project I got to do. I might even just bring it up here on the screen while I'm working and eat and bring it in. I think the plot's kind of wonky. I mean, 20,000 years after Godzilla took over Earth, you're going to try to redo it. I would be more plausible if it was like 300 or 400 years, 200 years. I think it's 20,000. I mean, it's like, why bother? Planet probably would have fallen into the sun or something. Tweak this just a little bit more. That looks good. I'm going to leave it at that. So we're getting a little bit fancy there. That's awesome. There we go. I never liked how layers get organized in this wonky program. Okay. So he's going to be saying that does. So I want some inflection on that. And I'm going to adjust the leading or kerning. I don't know. Kerning, I think, is the space between the letters, and leading is the line height. I think. I always mess it up. And we're going to have another connected balloon here. Provided I draw it on the right layer. What am I listening to? It's supposed to be a bunch of nice instrumental tracks. But there we go. Okay, let's see. That's way too much white space there. So we're going to bring that one up. Out. Down. And out. Yeah, I figure these guys have been at the slave transportation trade for a while. So like the Barbary Pirates. That was their stock in trade. Alright, so I've got, you know what, because it's the artwork is so right there, I think I'm going to change the hump of the, I'll do it there instead. Boom, all one shape. All right. So this is starting to come together. Need to do some things that are a little more interesting. So I'm going to do some of Dinosaur Man's thought balloons here as he's falling. So I'll get some pre-made. Get those on appropriate here. Group. Yeah, let's see. Thoughts come from the brain. And the brain is here, so that doesn't need to be there. So I'm going to ungroup these. Flip that around. I might just adjust where the words are to make it simple. Go into the compound shape. Reduce that. So far, so good. Yeah, no, not that. We're going to go to Object, Path, and Outline Stroke. So that makes that a shape instead of a stroke, and now it'll scale without getting all bloated like the other one did. Make some copies. Wait a minute. Because I don't want them flooding up here because it's going to get involved with that one. And come down here. Let's see. Here we are. Oh, hey. See how dense I am? Yes, okay, editor credit. I'm just like, la la la. What is he saying? I don't know. Yeah, definitely has. Alright, now I do like these exclamation marks. I want them kind of jumping out at me. So I'm probably going to play around with those a little bit here. Let's go to our text layer. Enlarge them even more. We're going to create outline. And we're going to go to Edit, Copy. We're going to go to our balloon. We're going to go to Edit, Paste and back. And then we're going to do a stroke, that dark red, and nice and big. Cut it again. Lock that. Edit there. Edit, paste and back. And maybe go on a little bit. There, nice and cool and stylized. And then I can go to this one and go. Okay. So. And this is one of the things I do not like. Get these, that stupid square looking thing. So, turn that off. I'm going to make this actually into a color. Enlarge it, stick it there. Alright, now that's better. Raw! Save this. Yay. Do one more of those fun balloons with the top cut off. Move that up. Move that out. Alright, now let's trim that off. Pathfinder, cut. And my expletive word that I made up, crudge. Now, if I don't want to do like a long, obnoxious tail, I'll just leave it as it is. So I'll do the thought style, which is going to be balloon. East and back, and now I'll kind of move it off a bit. Alright, so that's going to do it for tonight. You guys saw quite a little bit of lettering here going on. These are kind of boring, so I'll do those a little bit later. It's over. We're at 40 minutes again. I'm trying to keep these at 30 minutes, but if it bleeds to 40, I just don't want to do an hour. Just because metrics-wise, I don't think people tune in for a whole hour. Anyway. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. You can see I did some blur in Photoshop, so that makes it look like it's driving a little bit better. And move it around. So yeah, comics coming together, and have a good night. This has been fun, and I can't wait to get this second episode done in the can and get it posted, because I need to get another update done. Anyway, share and share alike, and have a good night.